I get it. I get it. I get it. Canelo is the big fight. He's the payday. He's the guy that you fight if you're fighting at 168, which is where he fights at, or if you want to move up from 160, or if you want to come down from 175. In both weight classes, 160 and 175, guys call out Canelo because he is the payday. Guys like, for instance, Andrade was calling him out before. Why? Because he was the payday. Even though Andrade did nothing significant at 160 pounds or 168 pounds. But he had enough fan base to call out Canelo and make an argument and cause a debate saying why Canelo should give Andrade a chance. Now, certain fighters don't deserve a big payday because they just not doing enough. They just didn't do enough to sell tickets, or they don't have enough names on their resume. Right? They don't have enough accomplishments. And then there's fighters who have did enough, who showed the world that he's ready for the elite. And Canelo is one of the elites. He's a A-side fighter with A-side skills. Okay? There's no denying that. But when you have a fighter like Canelo, who is at a certain point in his career, he can choose who he wants to fight, when and where. And I don't like that about fighters. I don't. Because they use their leverage to avoid certain fights. We're seeing it with Tank Davis. We're seeing it with Teofimo Lopez. We're seeing it in the heavyweight division. We saw it with Wilder and Anthony Joshua. We saw it with Fury. Before the fight with Usyk was signed, we saw it where he was trying his best to go around that fight. We see it over and over again. And throughout history, there have been fighters in lower weight classes going up and challenging the bigger man. And a lot of the times, those fighters in the lower weight classes were in fact so great that they could move up in weight and fight the bigger man. Because they did, because they're so great and because they're so talented that they can move up. Roberto Duran is one of those fighters. Pernell Whitaker is one of those fighters. I would say Michael Spinks is one of those fighters. From light heavyweight to the heavyweight division. So this been going on throughout history. Henry Armstrong was defending 3 titles in 3 different weight classes. Moved up and said, you know what? I'm going to move all the way up to welterweight and I'm going to fight Seferino Garcia. And he beat Seferino Garcia, one of the greatest Filipino fighters of all time. He beat him, but he didn't get the decision. They cheated him. He would have had 4 titles all at once. But he's a smaller guy, and he's that great that he can move up in weight. And Seferino Garcia got a lot of respect for that win, even though many people say it's a robbery. He still gets respect for that win. It's not a cherry pick. It wasn't an easy fight. He didn't fight Henry Armstrong because he's smaller. He fought him because he knew the guy was great. He fought him because he knew that this is a guy that is fighting in 3 different weight classes in the same day weight era. And now we have Terence Crawford here. Terence Crawford is a 3 weight class title holder, 2-time, 2 weight class undisputed champion. And he beat the best at 140 and he beat the best at 147. And I know he didn't do anything at 154. I know he didn't do anything at 160. But he has earned his right to pick a fight with Canelo. In my opinion, he's made a case that he is good enough to challenge someone like Canelo. And of course, if you ask me who I would rather see Canelo fight, I'd rather see Canelo fight Benavidez, and I'd rather see Crawford defend his title at 147. But the IBF took his title. He's no longer an undisputed champion at 147. He's getting older. Why not face Canelo? So he calls out Canelo, and Canelo blatantly ducks not only the person in his weight class, Benavidez, but now you're ducking Crawford, and you're saying critics are going to talk about you if you beat him, saying he's too small. But you fought plenty of smaller opponents, Canelo. You fought plenty of smaller opponents. And you ought to be ashamed of yourself, because you are a world champion, an undisputed champion at 168, and you are ducking 2 fighters at the exact same time, and one of them is a way smaller fighter than you. So I don't know what's going on, and I don't know what you plan on doing, and maybe your legacy is solidified. I don't know. It's not from my place to say that. But right now, what you're doing for your legacy is straight bogus, and you a duck.